Mr. Yang Shushen, Ambassador of the People's Republic of China to Barbados, and Dr. Kenneth George, the Chief Medical Officer, who will be speaking to you. The order will be that Dr. George will speak first with some welcome comments. He will be followed by Minister Bostic, then by Ambassador Yan Shushen, and finally, Honourable Prime Minister will make her short address. I would like to thank you for your attention and welcome to the podium, Dr. George. Oh, over here. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The Honourable Mia Amor Motley, QC MP, Prime Minister of Barbados. The Honourable Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic, Minister of Health and Wellness. His Excellency Mr. Yan Shushen, Ambassador of the People's Republic of China, members of the Diplomatic Corps from the People's Republic of China, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. This ceremony marks the kind donation of 30,000 Sinopharm vaccines to Barbados from the People's Republic of China. Sorry. Yes, let me start over. This ceremony marks the kind donation of 30,000 Sinopharm vaccines to Barbados from the People's Republic of China. As some of you may know, the WHO Strategic Advisory Group of Experts on Immunization in May the 7th of this year issued interim recommendations for the use of this inactivated Sinopharm vaccine for adults 18 years and older. These vaccines are safe and efficacious and can even be given to pregnant women and persons who are immunocompromised. This kind donation adds an alternative choice to the vaccines readily available in Barbados. The vaccine is given as a 2-dose regime, separated by 2 to 3 weeks, and can be given to individuals who have already contracted COVID. In a large multi-country phase 3 trial, the efficacy of this vaccine has been 79% against the SARS-CoV-2 infections for vaccinations greater than 14 days old. So it is indeed a pleasure for us to be here. This is an exciting time, and again, I urge persons in our communities across this island, up and down, to seriously consider being vaccinated. This is really one of our major hopes with respect to combating COVID. Thank you very much.
Mr. Bostic.
Thank you. Honorable Prime Minister, Ambassador and staff of the Embassy of the People's Republic of China, Permanent Secretaries, Chief Medical Officer, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is indeed a pleasure for me to be here again this afternoon to speak to you and to be part of this ceremony in accepting the donation of Sinopharm vaccines from the People's Republic of China. As Minister of Health and Wellness, Ambassador, I want to say that this is a continuation of your support to the Ministry of Health and Wellness throughout this pandemic, the period of the pandemic. And it started, I recall, in the very, very early days with some handheld thermometers. You also would have arranged for us in those early days to have some medical conferences with your experts in China who were dealing with the pandemic at the time, and we would have opened that to medical personnel in Barbados, private and public sector medical officials. And you've also been able to donate to us some PPE, which have been very, very valuable for us because this is something that we need on a regular basis given what we're doing here in the country. And through it all, you've also seen it possible to maintain the continuation of the program of the Chinese medical teams that have been visiting our country and rendering invaluable assistance to the people of this country. And we are really very happy and very glad to be able to not only rely on you and depend on you, but to partner with you in all that we do. And so the arrival of the Sinopharm vaccines is something that we've been looking forward to for a while. And we are really happy because, as you know, vaccines are not readily available to small island developing states. And this is really the bedrock for what we hope to be able to achieve as a country to facilitate their return to economic growth, economic activity, and also to deal with some of the psychosocial problems that would have come from the period of the pandemic and what our people have had to undergo. So without any further ado, I just want to really express the sincerest gratitude of the members of the staff of the Ministry of Health and Wellness and to thank you very, very much for the donation of the Sinopharm vaccines. Thank you.
Thank you. Your Honorable Mia Ama Motley, Prime Minister of Barbados. Your Honorable Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostick, Minister of Health and Wellness. Dr. Kenneth George, Chief Medical Officer of the Ministry of Health and Wellness. PS of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Simon Rudder, and PS, acting PS of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Sherling Arling. Distinguished guests, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm glad to attend this ceremony of receiving the China's vaccines donated to Barbados by the government of the People's Republic of China at Grantley Adams International Airport. Please allow me first to express my gratitude to Honorable Prime Minister Mia Motley for your presence. After COVID-19 broke out, President Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Mia Motley have exchanged letters expressing determination of the two countries to join hands in fighting the virus and providing from each other support to each other. This batch of vaccines donated by China is another concrete action of China-Barbados cooperation of fighting COVID-19, which is a shared concern by President Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Mia Motley. I would also like to say thanks to the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, and Grantley Adams International Airport, as well as the Custom Clearance Company. Together with our Chinese colleagues, they have overcome a series of difficulties due to the unpredictable international transportation situation under COVID-19 and facilitated the arrival of the Chinese vaccine. China and Barbados are closely friends and partners based on mutual trust. Since the outbreak of COVID-19, the two countries extend support to each other, fighting the pandemic hand in hand. China has donated 12 batches of medical supplies to Barbados. We also organized webinar between top Chinese frontline medical experts and their counterparts in Barbados twice, sharing knowledge and experience in epidemic prevention and control, With the arrival of the Chinese vaccines aid today, we sincerely hope that China would make a further contribution to the Barbados fight against COVID-19 and help it quickly recover and economy and social life. Dear friends, virus respects no borders and presents a common challenge to mankind. No country can wall itself off from its impact. Solidarity and cooperation are the most powerful weapons to defeat the virus. While combating COVID-19 domestically, China is actively engaged in international cooperation, providing support to the best of its ability to the international community, developing countries in particular. By mid-June, China has provided more than 290 billion masks, 3.5 billion protective suits, and 4.5 billion test kits to the world. Furthermore, China has donated and exported more than 400 million doses of vaccines to more than 90 countries. China has joined the WHO-initiated COVAX and pledged 10 million doses of vaccine to meet the urgent need of developing countries. While opposing vaccine nationalism and the immunization gap, China announced support for waiving intellectual property rights or COVID-19 vaccines, with the view of making vaccines more accessible and affordable in developing countries, promoting fair international distribution of vaccines, and building a global shield against the virus. China will remain committed to supporting Barbados in its ongoing effort to contain the pandemic and restore normalcy. On 1st of July, which is 2 days ahead, China will warmly celebrate the centenary of the founding of the Communist Party of China, a party dedicating to the long-time cause of the Chinese nation. It is right in its prime at its centenary. Based on tremendous achievements of the first centenary goal, China is embarking on a new journey of comprehensively building a modern socialist country. The Communist Party of China adheres to its original aspiration and mission, seeking happiness for the Chinese people and rejuvenation for the Chinese nation. Furthermore, we are ready to work together with all other countries, including Barbados, to build a community with a shared future for the mankind. Thank you.
Prime Minister Motley.
Thank you very much, P.S. Rudder. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let me say how I'm very pleased to be here this afternoon with you, Ambassador, and to celebrate the receipt of the gift, which is only but one of many over the course of the last 18 months, as the Minister of Health would have indicated. And I'd like to thank you, your government, President Xi Jinping, and all of the persons who were involved in the Ministry of Health on our side in order to be able to facilitate this moment this afternoon. But I want to use this opportunity as well to speak directly to Barbadians and to let us do a little quick reflection and a quick placing of context. Look behind me. This is Grantley Adams International Airport. Normally at 2 o'clock on an afternoon, you can't find anywhere to sit in here, far less move about easily. And this is a sign of the different world in which we find ourselves living today. I want to reflect on a saying that we have in Barbados that has carried me throughout this entire journey and that of my government. And that saying is, what ain't catch you, ain't pass you. And what do I really mean by that? A few weeks ago, the people of Australia were a model for those of us looking on with respect to people who were managing COVID. Today, as we speak in Australia, they are struggling to be able to contain the spread in parts of Australia. A few weeks ago, St. Kitts was a model in the Caribbean. Today, as we speak, St. Kitts is in perhaps one of the most comprehensive lockdowns for days at a time, not hours at a time. And I start from there because I really feel that even though we have turned the corner from the worst moments, we must not let down our guard. And we must not let our guard down at all, because we are as good as the action that we take in the next minute, whether it is with respect to wearing masks. And I'm happy that the CDC has come out, and sorry, not the CDC, the WHO has come out and made it very, very clear that even vaccinated persons should continue to wear masks, especially in the absence of herd immunity. But I want to contextualize it further for the average Barbadian, because you would have heard over the course of the last week, even as we prepare for some freeing up and removal of restrictions going forward, you would have heard a number of persons who the Minister of Health would have shared with you would have been positive with COVID-19. And what is the most important fact about those people? All of them. It is that all of them remained without a vaccination. Every last one of them without a vaccination. Now, it does not mean that you cannot catch COVID with a vaccination, and we know that. But the chances of catching it are much, much less. And I have therefore to ask us today as a nation and as a people, how do we pick sense from what is happening before us? Because we're not foolish. And we have the capacity, Barbadians more than most, have the capacity to reason and to look and to pick sense from things for yourself. And what is it that I want you to reflect on? Those of you who are listening to me and those who may read what I'm saying, you have life. You have life. You can breathe. You can move about. You can hug. You can do all of the things that the gift of life gives us. But we equally have a virus that we don't need to do anything to catch it. We've learned we don't even need to leave your house to catch it. There are some elderly persons in particular who have said they have not left their home, but because of goods or people coming into the house, they have been exposed to it. And in some instances, it has not been good, as we all know. But if you have life in your hand, and you don't have to go anywhere to catch it, you have to ask yourself, how do I protect myself? And we have given you, across the world, a tool to be able to protect yourself. A tool that allows you, even if you caught it, because your chances of catching it are far less with the vaccination than they are without it. And we all know that now. I think everybody knows that, correct? But if you catch it, what is more important, as Dr. George will tell you and others, is that your chances of becoming seriously ill are small, are minuscule. In other words, by taking the one thing that you can take, you can make a difference to the quality of your life, that of your children, your parents, your aunt, your uncle, your family, all of you. And the only thing standing between you and protecting your family and yourself is the decision to take the vaccination. I took it. I good. Nothing happened to me. Jeffrey took it. He good. Nothing happened to him. The majority of people in this room have taken it. Not true? Not true? Including the majority of you in the media. Not true? Tell this story, because if you don't tell this story, people are going to feel that it is just a small group of people that want people to take it. But our capacity globally and locally to be able to have a situation where we can provide for our people, where people can seek to be working again, where people can seek to move around knowing that even if they caught it, they're not going to die from it, chances are, and they're not going to have the kind of sickness that you see. And therefore, what I am saying to you is that if you know you have access to the one tool that can protect you, do you continue to stand outside the house and say you don't want to go in the house to access that tool and leave yourself completely vulnerable to this thing that you don't have to go anywhere to catch it? I ask the people of this country, who I love dearly, to please consider these things. I don't have the capacity to order anybody to do anything when it comes to a vaccine. But I also want you to know that you have to pick sense from what is going on. And all of the conspiracy theories and all of the fake news that is out there on the internet, the question is, in whose interest is it? Because those of us who take the tool that exists to minimize sickness and to minimize death know the worth of the vaccine. Like with everything else in life, there's always a small risk. But the truth is that the risk of not taking it is far greater for you to get ill and for something to happen to somebody that you love than if you take it. And it is against that background I have come here today not to give a long speech, to say thank you to our brothers and sisters in the People's Republic of China, but equally to say to Barbadians that we know how to pick sense from things. And I am asking you, this is not only a gift that will allow 15,000 more Barbadians today to benefit from vaccines, from the Sinopharm vaccine, but as we continue to get from the very beginning, I've told you that I will go out there, my government will go out there, and we will try our best, and we have been doing that, and getting for you that which other countries have not been able to get. That which other countries have not been able to get, regrettably. And we all know globally that the one thing that will allow us to see the kind of people and us to have people go back to jobs as we would like, even if it's to build forward greener, not in the old ways. But for us to have that, then we need to have serious conversations in our families, in our communities, in our workplaces, and among our friends about what it is that can protect you. It is the vaccine. And my friends, I ask all Barbadians, therefore, to recognize that we have done as a government what we must do and can do. But the ball is now in your court. We can do no more. The ball is in your court to say yes to a vaccination and to understand that the majority of the 90-something thousand people who have taken one vaccine and the 65,000 or so who have taken two, that we are still here and that we are hopefully in a position to encourage those of you who have not taken that the time has come. My friends, as I said, simply, the ball is in the court of the people of Barbados who have not yet taken this vaccine. I pray from the bottom of my heart that you will do what is necessary to protect you and to protect your loved ones. We can only ask you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. There will be no question and answer period. It remains for me to thank the Prime Minister, Minister, Ambassador, Dr. George, and also those who behind the scenes have made this possible. Major Clerk, Dr. Ferdinand from the vaccination program, Station Sergeant Blenman from the BDF, and you, ladies and gentlemen of the media. There will now be just a photo opportunity with the Prime Minister, Minister Bostic, and Ambassador Yang Shuqi in front here. So if you can move these, please, just in front of the flag.